So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the COVID tests, the early detection kits that apparently Trump sent to Putin during 2020 when everyone was desperate for them and they were really hard to get. And I actually have a personal story because I know a lot about that. At the time, in April and May of 2020, I was trying to help provide early COVID detection kits to the states of New York and the states of California. So I was able to work with a venture capitalist CEO who was based in San Francisco, who I knew, a billionaire who was also based out of India. And he had gone to Wuhan, China in October of 2019, I believe. And he ended up getting really sick. And when he got back home, he was unable to figure out what this was. Well, he was just very, very weak. But he owned his own personal health lab. So they were able to take a lot of tests from him, and out of that entire procedure, he created early warning COVID detection kits. And so in early 2020, when COVID hit the scene pretty hard in Europe, he was able to help provide them with these early COVID detection kits that helped Europe during that time. And when I found out about it, I thought, you know what? Let me see what he's doing to bring this to the United States. And so he and I talked about it. And I said, well, do you think that you could guarantee a certain number of them? So I was trying to get 5 million for New York and California at the time, guaranteed. But they had to go through the whole FDA process to get approved to be distributed in the United States. So there was a whole process involved. And I was working with a big hitter overseas in Italy, who was literally like the Dr. Fauci of Europe. And he was working with all the world leaders, him and his organization, to identify how quickly COVID would spread, what the options were for these world leaders. And so he was also helping me. He and I were working together, and we were trying to figure this whole thing out. So when I tell you that it was really nearly impossible to get COVID detection kits in early 2020, it was really difficult. And so the fact that Trump had them, and instead of giving them to as many Americans as we needed to give them to, that he gave them to Putin, who has declared the United States an enemy of Russia, it's really unfathomable. And I think that you guys should really look at that, because that tells all about the character of a person. He put Russia ahead of the interests of the United States of America. And that says it all for me.